And we are back. It is the New York Gun Guys. My name is John.
My name's Taylor.
Guys, check us out on Facebook and Instagram. Like and share all of our posts, please. And you should also post things on our Facebook page. We really love that. And check out all of our other episodes on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, wherever else, whatever else we got going on. Guys, we're going to talk about a few different things. Actually, I guess it's like kind of three, but kind of four. Yeah. In regards to that temporary injunction that the
lawyers for the defendants of the Jerry's Firearms debacle.
Correct.
Yeah.
Suffolk sent their response, and then today you sent me that the lawyers sent their clapback to that, which was really cool. I was skimming through that.
Yeah.
We're also going to talk about the King Cuomo sexual harassment scandals.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, at this point, it's kind of like,
enough people have come out.
Here's the thing. I don't want to say that he's guilty of this because
it's an allegation.
Innocent until proven guilty, right?
Yes.
But it's not looking good.
No.
And then I want to talk about the forced COVID vaccines.
Right. That's a biggie.
Yeah.
The whole thing with Cuomo, their allegations, people are coming forward with these. And, part of me, just kind of as a guy, is just all right, how much of this is legitimate?
Right.
And it's so funny that from the impression that I got, I was listening to one interview. Well, I guess we could just go right into this first.
I guess we'll start with Cuomo.
I'm already just going into it anyway. I was listening to this one person give a thing on the news, an interview. And basically she was like, I was an aide or was an intern for him. And he would ask me certain things like, oh, I want a girlfriend. And he would tell me that he was implying that I was of age, and he's asking if she was into older guys and all this.
Well, there was in this.
It was 11 total.
In the report, 11 what?
11 total people coming forward with multiple counties.
There was 179 people interviewed.
Oh, shit.
Not all of them are people that had encounters,
right.
but witnesses, things like that. Yeah. And then they also reviewed over 74,000 pieces of evidence. And I can only imagine what that evidence could have been. Text messages, pictures, right. Video, just things that were caught on camera. I mean, this guy's a public figure, so they're going to see things. So they reviewed over 74,000 pieces of evidence, and the Attorney General, who is a Democrat,
Letitia,
something. I forgot her name.
First name's Letitia.
But you know what's crazy though? She's gunning for the governor position.
Really is.
So it's kind of it's almost like a conflict of interest in a way.
This is kind of what makes me think how much of it is actually them giving a shit, and how much of it is
political and I don't know.
Because honestly, let's just say he does resign. He's not going to be charged criminally. They're not going to go after him criminally.
He already said he's not leaving.
Yeah.
And
a lot of people are calling for his resignation, even a lot of Democrats.
Biden, and I think every politician in New York State.
It's crazy, man.
What's crazy is that this was the greatest governor on earth, and now he's no longer useful, so he's getting thrown away now, and the Democratic Party's pretty much eating themselves here.
They really are. And then his whole previous scandal with the whole nursing home deaths and his aides fudging the numbers, basically because in his defense he was oh, I don't want to give Trump anything to use against me or some shit like that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And everyone knew what was going on. It's just now it's coming to light along with this these allegations that are coming out.
Yeah. You know what's the most fucked up part about this is that Cuomo is the whole party is believe all women.
Yeah.
Believe all women, but now Cuomo's believe all women except for when they're making allegations about me, they're lying. He pretty much said they're lying.
Yeah. He said he was joking and playing, and you know what? Maybe that was the case. He genuinely thought that he was just joking around and playing, but the woke culture that he helped incubate and he helped nurture in this state is now coming back to get him. Because any realistic person could, if you have a strong enough relationship with someone, you could probably joke about oh, you want to be my girlfriend, or oh, have you know what I mean?
I guess,
it's
but
think about your coworkers. Think about people that
definitely do not talk to my coworkers.
Right, well,
but I work in a. This is different. But the problem is this is a man of power. He's your boss.
Well, that's the whole thing.
It's different than if you were in the hangar with
Right.
someone at your level, you
Yeah.
know, and you're like making jokes about whatever.
Right.
It's different than like if your boss comes down and is like, hey,
Yeah.
like let me, like one of the things that they said he did was like he would lay his head in the lap of females.
Ew.
You know what I mean? Like this is like this is a 60-year-old man.
Was he
like
checking for trout?
I don't know, but just like think about this. So now like let's say that's
Yeah.
you, right? You're in that position. This is
Yeah.
your boss,
Yeah,
like
it's so
someone
awkward.
of power, like comes down. He just wants to lay his head in your lap. Like what are you gonna do? Like
Right.
you're gonna like tell
Yeah.
him no? Like
It puts you in a very compromising position,
He's-
especially the governor of New York.
he's the most powerful man in the state.
Yeah. That's, yeah.
You know, when it comes to like
Yeah.
politics.
Yeah.
he
No,
is.
definitely. And so
It's disgusting.
it's definitely not looking good for him.
But he said he wasn't going.
No. It's like that scene from The Wolf of Wall
Street.
Street.
Yeah. Even I never saw that movie.
Ah, it's a good
I
movie.
got to see it.
Yeah.
Even Biden said that he should be charged criminally.
And-
He said like, someone asked him multiple times now, but the last one I heard, someone said to him like, "Do you think that he should resign?" And he said, "Yes, absolutely." And I think he's going to be even facing prosecution for this.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah.
Because for somebody that really wants to enforce things in this state a certain way against certain people, now it's coming back to bite him, and people aren't giving him the benefit of the doubt. People aren't being like, you know what? Like, let's put this on pause. What's really going on? So, listen, we'll wait for more to come out and for things to be concrete. All this
Right.
is just allegations at this point. They're going over witness testimony and evidence, and it's from a lot of counties too: Manhattan,
Yep.
Nassau, Westchester, all these different counties.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
But
like,
also, one of them is about retaliation. One of these
Yes.
people is going after him for retaliation, and it's not the first time publicly
no. Someone's not going after him for
they want to
retaliation.
sue him for retaliation.
No. Yes. What
Yeah.
happened was there was like a past allegation made by a female,
Right.
And the evidence had uncovered that there was like retaliation from him and
Yeah.
his staff
Yeah.
toward her.
Yeah, so
And
she's
now they
suing
wanna
him
sue-
now.
Good.
And it's not the first time. Remember that state trooper that was dating his daughter,
Yes.
and he like reassigned him upstate to Plattsburgh, and
Well-
he had to go like 4 hours commute each way from his home, and they said, oh, he wanted to be reassigned. And it's like, all right, well, how about the guy get the guy moved up there so he doesn't have to drive 4 hours?
That's not really retaliation.
It is. They
It's
call
not.
it highway therapy.
Yeah, I know what they call it, but that's not retaliation. That's like a punishment. Like
Well, it's retaliatory.
no,
That's punishing somebody
no.
in that manner is retaliation.
that's disciplinary. That is-
Disciplinary is
No, no, no,
docking
no.
the guy's pay or
No.
docking his time off.
no. When you
Sending him up to near Canada so he has to commute 4 hours each day.
that's not retaliatory. He did something he wasn't supposed to do on the job.
Mm.
That it's disciplinary. When you work in that, trust me, when you work in that industry, I know very well that is considered the disciplinary action. Now, if he dated his daughter, dumped his daughter, or did something, and then Cuomo was like, "Oh, for that we're going to dock," or here's a good example. He does something with the daughter, right? They're dating, and then they
Banging.
break up. Okay, they break up though. Let's say they were dating and
Yeah.
everything was fine, but they break up, and then he goes, "Okay, you're not eligible for a promotion."
Mhm.
That's retaliatory.
But it's also retaliation to where they make him. It's.
That happens all the time. It's not considered. It's not. I'm
Well,
telling you,
I'm just saying, man.
well, in that job, it's not considered retaliatory.
It wouldn't be, in my
it's-
opinion, it wouldn't be retaliatory if they said to him, "Hey, we're transferring you. Start packing your things, find a house, and get moving." And you know what? But they made him do it before his life was able to accommodate it. So I mean, dude, he's in the car for it's like 400 miles round trip. He's got to do every day.
You're reassigned. That's it.
Crazy, man.
That's
Well,
it. You
the
got
reassignment
reassigned.
is retaliatory, man. That's my opinion. Listen, that's just my opinion.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's semantics. But when you
I think it's
use,
fucked
it's
up.
not. But in that line of work, it's not retaliatory.
Even in the army, when they
Retaliatory-
fucking reassign you somewhere, they give you time to move, they get you set up, they help you out. This was just like, oh, you're going up near Canada.
Yeah, but also in the army, they
fucking
pay like a lot. They pay for your housing, things like that.
not
too.
always, man. Not always.
No, but a lot of the time they do.
Well, they subsidize it in most cases if you live off base, but they still give you time to fucking like. They don't tell you, oh, you have to report to Georgia tomorrow, and you're
Right.
fucking in upstate New York.
Right.
Like they give you time to move and get set up. They didn't
Yeah,
give
no,
this
I-
time
I-
that.
I get
That's
it.
what I'm saying. It's more retaliatory. That's just in my opinion. That's just my opinion. I'm not in the fucking business. I don't know,
No,
but
I
just
know.
to the outsider
We're-
looking in,
Retaliatory would be the way I would see it would be if he like whistle blew like against Cuomo
blew
in
her
some way.
whistle.
Yeah, well, let's say he whistle blew. Let's say he was the one who was like, "Yo,
Yeah.
Cuomo is, sexually harassing people," and he was like, "All right, you know what? Now you're no longer on my detail,
Right.
and I'm sending you away." Like that's retaliatory.
I think it's
But
semantics.
he did something that was not. I mean, it would be like if he like fucked Cuomo himself, and
Who
then like
knows?
people found out and they were just like, "No, you gotta." Now you're
And
getting out
with all
therapy.
these allegations against Cuomo, it's not the first time that a New York governor has had some shit. Remember Anthony Weiner?
I do.
Yeah, remember he was like texting girls and he was like a habitual cheater.
Well, he straight texted his dick to people.
Yeah, he was
sent
yeah.
unwanted dick pics.
Yeah, he was a habitual cheater to what was her name? She was a Clinton aide, Huma something or other. Forget her name, but he called himself. And I'll never forget this. His like pseudonym was Carlos Danger.
Oh,
That was his pseudonym. Yeah, sitting New York
terrible.
governor sending cock pics, unsolicited cock pics out.
I
God,
mean,
listen. And then there was the governor of New Jersey, McGreevey, who was like meeting guys in rest stops late at night, along
hey,
the turnpike.
that'd be okay now.
Listen, hey,
That would be okay now.
I'm not saying it's not okay. I'm just saying it was definitely a scandal. Let me tell you. 'cause
Yeah, was
had
he
a wife.
married?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, that
See,
was McGreevey.
here's
I
the
believe.
thing, like, okay, so him wanting to like have sex with a dude somewhere,
No
like,
problem with that.
I don't even think that should be public information. Like, I don't
No.
think that it should. That's not really I mean, who cares? Like, that's a marital issue.
Right, but in this
Like,
world of everyone needs to know
no.
everything about everyone.
No, I agree. Yeah, I understand. I understand that, but I'm just saying, like, if they have marital problems, that
Right.
as long as it doesn't affect the way he's running the state, like, it shouldn't even matter.
No, it was just a big news story.
Yeah, of
Bro.
course.
But and with Anthony Weiner, he was a habitual cheater. And
Well,
a
that's different though, because
habitual
he's fucking sending
jerking off to
yeah,
different
like,
girls' pictures.
Yeah,
and-
no one wants to.
Yeah, no,
That's
yeah.
fucked up.
Yeah, it's so habitual. More than once,
It's disgusting.
his wife took him back, and then he did it again. So, for everyone out there who wants to get more information on the governor's alleged,
Just Google
yeah,
it.
just Google it.
You can actually find the Attorney General's report
Oh,
where
okay.
it like lays out all the allegations, and it doesn't name any names because the nature of what's going
Yeah.
on. But
Yeah, victims of sexual, crimes. They're nameless. In the
of
media,
course,
thankfully.
and it's crazy. Like, I can understand, and I was talking about this with a couple different people that. Because they were saying like, oh, if like they were calling it sexual harassment. Under the penal law, there is no law that makes quote unquote sexual harassment illegal. Sexual harassment would be like you call somebody like, hey, beautiful, or hey, sexy.
Wasn't it a federal statute
There might be.
that defines like
there-
labor and stuff like that?
I mean,
I think it's federally also that
it might-
defines workplace like sexual harassment.
it could be.
Like
It becomes
discrimination, harassment, things
it becomes
like that.
illegal when you like put your hands on somebody basically, or like
Yeah.
send them pictures and things like that. So if he just walked around calling everybody beautiful, or like, hey, you want to be my girlfriend, like shit like that. I mean,
Yeah.
yes, that would be sexual harassment because it's unwanted advances.
Right.
But would it be illegal? No. But since he
It's not a good
he's
look.
like groping asses.
Yeah,
and,
that was his thing. He was a groper, and he also
Yeah.
asked chicks to kiss him.
yeah.
That was the biggie.
Yeah.
Like multiple chicks.
Yeah.
Like one state trooper who was in his home or something. He's like, "Can I kiss you?" And she's like, yeah," because she didn't like want to have anything happen to his career.
yeah.
Or I don't know if she said it like
Well,
that.
see, now like
but-
that would be retaliatory. Let's
Right.
say he was like, "Hey, can I kiss you?" And she was like, "Fuck no!" And then he was like, "You're getting reassigned to fucking 4 hours." That's retaliatory.
I mean,
That's retaliatory.
you can't bang my daughter. You're getting reassigned to 4. I mean, it's the same shit, bro.
No, that's not
Kissing
the
Cuomo
same.
or kissing his
No,
daughter.
it's not the same
the
shit,
same
man.
bullshit.
It's not. If you're assigned to like their detail to like protect them, that's I guess.
I
That's
mean, he
not
was really
something-
protecting his daughter. I'm just saying.
full coverage.
Yeah, full coverage. He would use himself to shield her.
God.
I'm going to stop before this fucking gets way too...
It's like, who's taking the bullet for who, bro?
Who's taking the load for who?
Fully loaded.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about this. The Suffolk County
Yeah,
response.
yeah.
I want to let's just kind of go over the response from Suffolk County because they were saying.
On your phone, I don't have it pulled up. I have
Well,
the one
I'm
that
just
the
gonna
lawyer...
say that like
Okay.
what I was when I was reading over it.
Yeah.
When you sent it to me, they were saying like, oh, the injunction isn't necessary because no one was going to get arrested, and they were pointing out that no one had been arrested, like the John Does, quote unquote,
Right.
haven't been arrested, and it's been over 2 months, and obviously they know who they are,
Yeah.
and all this shit. And they said in the letter, it said, something that stuck out to me. They or in the counter arguments.
Yeah, Suffolk County's response.
Right. They said something along the lines of, oh, shit, what was it?
Well, one of them was the big one that they wanted it defined as a pistol.
Oh, wait, hold on. Before we go into that, before I forget again, they were saying that they didn't want to arrest anybody. They wanted the guns to be brought to them for inspection, quote unquote, inspection and disposition. But what's the disposition that's going to happen? A disposition could be anything. Disposition could be the gun is taken and stored, taken and stored as evidence for safekeeping, or it could be destroyed, or it could be modified. That's the disposition.
It's
so
the
what is it? Right. So when they're saying like we just wanted it for inspection and disposition, it was like, okay, but inspection and what? Is the disposition? What is it?
Going to be taken from me?
Correct. Like it's not clear at all.
Right. And they were like, oh, we never said that we wouldn't compensate anybody for it. But it's like, okay, well, what am I to believe? You said you're going to take the gun from me when I bring it to you. So, so what? Like, are you going to, is it a big secret? Like, how about some transparency? Right. But and they just got caught with their pants down, and they were just making up shit.
Yeah. And
nobody
the letter
signed the letter.
Right. And 100% that it's just, man.
Right.
Based on that letter, there was an imminent threat of them being arrested.
I read that letter, and I'm a layman, like I'm just a common dude, and that's what I thought.
Yeah, 100%. If I read that, I would have been like, they're knocking on my door on the 16th day when I don't hand in this gun. They gave him 15 days. No one's been arrested though, as far as I know.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about it, just from what I've been looking around online and any news or anything.
Yeah. And then they were going into whether it's a pistol, you were going to say, or
right.
Or a
they
rifle.
They were trying to say it's an assault weapon, and they were trying to basically use the category of pistol as a catch-all in the state. Like, for example, you can have like one of those. I believe in the state, you can have a sawed-off shotgun, like a super shorty shotgun,
right?
But register it as a pistol. The New York State, I believe they use the pistol category as an undefined kind of catch-all term.
Okay.
That's the impression I got from kind of reading the penal code and from reading their letter, but it's not really defined. And then what the state does is, for the definitions which the attorney replied back to in the letter, they use the definition of a rifle and a shotgun from the federal level. So they basically adopt the federal rifle, the federal shotgun definition. So it would make sense that in that case, then they would also they would take the federal definition of what a pistol is, something that's concealable, less than 26 inches in length.
Right.
Is used to be fired from one hand, yada, yada, which is technically, like, the whole big thing is relying on concealment. And the federal standard for concealment, they say, is 26 inches or less.
Right.
Over 26 inches, then it's not, they don't consider it concealable.
Right. And a big thing in the initial letter from the lawyers, from the Doe's side, they said that the gun was not made to be concealable.
Right,
and
that's over 26
And that's
inches.
basically a big red flag of, hey, this is not a pistol.
Right. And, so that's a lot of what the lawyer replied to Suffolk County's reply, which
really
I actually
quick.
have here. So I just want to read a couple of excerpts from it and then just tell everyone, again, I got it off the New York Guns subreddit. I'm not sure the URL is kind of weird. It's like a document URL or something. So one on page 3, it says the county fails to commit to the statute being violated. The county has still not committed to identifying which section of the penal law the Ct4-2A violates. And then they continue to say the county argues the Ct4-2A is, quote, truly an assault weapon, end quote, under 265, and then it gives the subsections of the penal code, which would make it a pistol with prohibited characteristics. Then the county argues the Ct4-2A could also be a rifle under that same penal code, but it fails to place the Ct4-2A within any specific criminal statute. The county randomly cites certain features outlawed under 265.00 subsection 22 without committing to which type of gun they contend the Ct4-2A is, a pistol or rifle. And this is the part I love, John. It says, definitions matter. A gun cannot be both a pistol and a rifle.
Right.
The fact that neither Suffolk County Police Department nor its district attorney's office can pin down the specific section of the penal law under which they are confiscating property and this is kind of where the attorney lost me for a minute. She called them like the Gestapo basically, and I'm like, all right, let's leave the emotional kind of rhetoric out of this. Like, I get the point they're trying to convey.
No,
but
I like that. There's you know what I noticed about this. So the letter was the letter, right? The initial lawyer's response was very, legalese,
right,
very lawyer.
Yeah.
Then Suffolk County clapped back with their shit, and then now it feels like this that the lawyer is coming out with is way more just like regular talking.
Right.
Like it feels almost like you could feel the frustration in her.
Yeah.
Just from reading it, I'm like, damn, like she's getting like snippy with it. You know,
Right.
maybe I'm just reading it that way, but it feels a lot like she's pissed.
Right.
And yeah, maybe that was an emotional thing.
Yeah.
Or maybe she legitimately wants to because this is
point home.
because listen, like a judge is going to be reading this.
Right.
This is not just like letters back and forth. You know, this is like a judge is going to be reading this. This is for the courts, so she wants to hammer the point home that this is not what this country is about. This is you can't just make it up.
Right.
She wrote in here.
I get that point.
She wrote in here like there's no interpretation needed. It's the penal law. It's written. There's no interpretation needed for this. It's defined a certain way or not defined, however you want to look at it.
Sorry, my watch banged the microphone.
So there's no reason to interpret. So I understand where she's coming from.
No, I get it, but you know my problem is also just kind of on a. This is an unrelated topic to this, but. You know, when everyone's like, "Oh, he's a Nazi, she's a Nazi," the Gestapo, the this, the that. It's like, all right,
well,
I
good.
get the comparison.
They're giving it back because they do this shit.
No, I know they do, but my whole thing is just like, unless the guy or unless the Suffolk County PD is going around waving Nazi flags, like you could call them.
They pretty much wanted to go door to door and fucking collect these guns, right? That was the letter. Hey, give us this shit, or we're coming to your house and we're fucking taking you and we're taking the guns.
You know, unless they're like waving the Nazi flag, I wouldn't call them Nazis. Like, let's reserve the term Nazis. Let's like she said, words matter, and like the left says, words matter for whatever the fuck that's worth. But you know, like she could have just said like an authoritarian governmental official, or like you know an overzealous regime. There's other ways to drive the point across. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, there's other ways.
You know what? I could critique something. I could have criticisms of something, even though it's on my side. Let's just say.
Sure.
So that's my criticism of it. It's like, because the judge could just be like, really? They're not Gestapos. Like, and then it kind of just deflates everything she's built up in that paragraph. That's just my opinion. And, you know, it's just coming from somebody that'll gladly call somebody every, you know, name under the book. I don't care.
Right.
But just the last part of that I just want to say is that they're threatening to arrest and prosecute innocent people, and that should send chills down the spine of every ethical being in this judicial system. Very powerful words, very powerful sentence right there. She's basically saying, like, you guys are just making this shit up.
They are.
Either cite the penal code and define what it is.
Which they can't.
Right. Or default to what the federal statute and penal law is, and the federal definitions, and then it should be
legal. The whole
legal.
thing is Suffolk County is saying, hey, this isn't defined, so we are making the determination, and our interpretation is it's going to be illegal. And then on the other hand, she's saying, hey, it's not defined, therefore it can't be illegal because there's no law against it. And those are the two sides.
Right.
You have one side that's saying, hey, it's illegal because it's not defined, and you have another side saying, no, it is legal because it's not defined.
Right. She also says that, you know, classically pistols have been considered concealable, like I said, and that in New York State pistols have to be registered.
Mm-hmm.
This was bought like a rifle or a shotgun, and it was sold as such, like a rifle or shotgun. And in other places in the U.S., it's bought and sold like a rifle or a shotgun.
She even goes into definitions of concealable weapons and things like that.
She puts a picture of a Glock with a forward grip on it, which is technically an AOW. It's not an assault pistol federally. A Glock with a forward grip is an AOW. But, you know, that's technical stuff that most people don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, she basically, if it's supposed to be an assault pistol, quote-unquote, then it's supposed to be licensed as a pistol in the state of New York, which it wasn't.
Right.
So, therefore, it can't be a pistol. And also, it can't be a pistol because the New York State system, apparently, from what she's saying, I haven't really looked into it, but it doesn't have really a definition of what a pistol is other than it just being concealable.
Right.
So since this has a forward grip and a rear grip, two grips, it can't be fired with one hand, which is what the federal definition says. It's over 26 inches. You know, the whole, like, if you really want a good overview of what we're talking about, you could go back and listen to our episode that we did on others, because this weapon is technically considered an other. It just falls into this weird kind of category of it doesn't meet any of the definitions, so it's just a firearm.
Right.
So, and then, you know, she does a really good job in this, as John likes to call it, a clapback.
I'm telling you, if anybody reads this, you're gonna if you kind of like skim through them in order and read, you know what's going on. like the first couple responses to each other were very like it felt very professional and very proper, like citing specific things about the penal law and measurements and things like that. And it just feels like in this one she's pretty much like she just went crazy. Like she's just speaking. Like if she was like sitting in a room with them and just like she's now pissed and she's saying like, no, you're fucking wrong because ... and she just goes ham on them.
Right. I like this one this one court case that she cites where it's subsection 4 of this. It says an injunction serves a public interest, and it says, quote, the public interest favors the exercise of constitutional rights by law-abiding responsible citizens, and it always is in the public interest to prevent the violation of a person's constitutional rights. Duncan v. Becerra.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, man, that is such a good fucking quote.
Yeah. They must have a database where they look up all this fucking...
Yeah. They have it's citing, precedent in court cases. It's a common thing. I'm not a lawyer, so...
Yeah.
But just from what I've read and dealt with in the fucking... I feel like sometimes you have to kind of be like a quasi-paralegal to be a gun owner in New York.
Well,
you got to know the SAFE Act.
Yeah.
You know
Well, you know what the problem is? Like, well, yeah, definitely for that shit. But they cite so much case law in here. Like, there's like a page and pages and pages of case law, different cases. And it's like, damn, like, I have to, like, go through and, like, look at what is this case law? Like, case law is super important.
It is. They basically, paralegals go and, like, research case law,
right.
if I remember that correctly.
They might, I don't know.
But, just a side note about New York law, just a little anecdote. I was watching a video that was put out the other day by Ian on Forgotten Weapons. And he interviewed this guy. I think his name is Dolph Goldsmith. He's like one of the premier prominent machine gun collectors and NFA gurus in the United States. And he was telling a story about how when he was living in New York at the time, back in the 50s and 60s, how before 1968, destructive devices weren't a thing. Like they weren't regulated by the NFA.
Right.
So you can go. He said he went down to New York, bought a 37 millimeter Bofors cannon. It's this big thing on like a trailer and shoots a 37 millimeter round. He's like, and he bought the gun for $200 and he bought the rounds at 50 cents a piece. And Bofors rounds are big, 37 millimeters. Yeah. And he drove them through New York City to upstate and they were just shooting them at mountains. He's like, I fired thousands of rounds of them upstate in mountains. And this was before the NFA considered destructive devices to be something that had to be registered.
Could you imagine just shooting
1,000 rounds of fucking 37
like,
cannons?
It's not even like just like you get to shoot the cannon,
right.
But it's like you're just lobbing them into like a mountainside.
Yeah. And he said
That's
things.
Crazy, dude.
He said 2 things that happened with destructive devices caused the government to make them want to be regulated. One was that, that gun that I shot, the Lottie, the L39 at the machine gun shoot?
I do.
Somebody used one of those to bust open a bank vault. They brought it with them to a bank robbery, and they just pounded the bank vault door.
It must have been so loud.
Yeah, and they made off with the money, and they left a tripod. They left a tripod for the gun there, and that's how the cops knew that it was a Lottie that they used, because they left the tripod.
Right.
The other one was that apparently somebody in Brooklyn fired a bazooka at the UN building or something like that back in like the 50s or something.
Dude, can you imagine?
Imagine in a room like this just firing off a Lottie, just 20, 30 rounds. Oh, my God. But it's just a little interesting anecdote of even laws in New York, how they've changed over time and how they developed to where you could just go to a warehouse, buy a fucking cannon, a 37 millimeter automatic cannon, or it's an auto. I don't think it's an auto-loading cannon. It's a single-shot cannon, but, it's a modern, cannon, and just
it's a fucking
drive through the city with it upstate.
That's
in New York. It was a great interview, and it's an older interview from 10 years ago.
I wonder if you could still buy one and like drive it through New York City. I guess you could. I mean,
no, because New York's
you'd probably have to just like let the city know if you're traveling. I mean,
technically, if you have, I guess it would be kind of complicated. In the city, you would need probably a manufacturer's SOT or a dealer on destructive devices federally. Or if you were the private individual that has it registered, I mean, you would be able to probably drive through New York.
You would have to drive the cannon in one vehicle and the ammo in another vehicle.
Yeah.
That way,
well, it's on a trailer.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, like, that way they can't even be like, well, you had intent to use it. Be like, no, because the vehicle with the ammo like drove up like 12 hours ahead of us.
I think any responsible destructive device owner knows to just steer clear of Manhattan.
No, they probably just make a notification and call, dude. You have to drive through the city to get from anywhere from Long Island or get to Long Island.
I don't know, man. I mean, it's crazy. Like, probably, yeah, but it's just, I don't know the laws on that. Like, I'm just trying to think in my head. Like, because technically, federally, there's a clause that says if you're legal to where you're bringing the gun from, and if you're legal to where you're bringing the gun to, any states in between, as long as you're not delayed or dilly-dallying or whatever, they should let you pass through freely.
Yeah.
Obviously, New York has a big issue with that law.
Well, they used to. Now they said you can pass through, but there's certain parameters.
Right.
You know, the gun needs to be like, you know, lockbox.
Well, the biggest thing is at airports. If you get delayed at an airport and then you have to go, like, leave the airport, come back in with your gun, let's say from Tennessee flying to Maine, you get delayed or whatever, and you have to leave and come back, they can cite you for having an unregistered handgun in New York, which is, you know, a big problem. But, yeah, I just laughed at that interview because I'm just like, holy shit, that's fucking cool. He's like, yeah, $200 a piece and 50 cents a round. I'm like, fuck. I want one so bad. But anyway, anecdote over.
Yeah.
So New York is having a problem now defining things, but back in the day you were able to get a cannon. So whatever, you know. That's what the story was.
Why didn't you bring any sushi this time?
I didn't have any sushi at work.
I was hanging out with a couple friends of mine. I guess it was 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And you probably know who they are. No,
Probably
not. We were smoking cigars.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I know there.
Stevie was there, and there was somebody else.
Oh, by the way,
you guys
Stevie,
know Stevie.
Yeah, Stevie hasn't been with us for a little while. Not for anything bad. He's doing good. He's going up to college, apparently, John says.
Yeah, he's going to college to be an adult.
Between life and work, it's just, you know, this was a project that he, just couldn't stick with, I guess.
Well, he's a busy boy.
Yeah, he's busy. So,
and you know what's rough? Like,
Stevie.
our constantly changing schedules doesn't help.
No, it doesn't.
Like, we pretty much decided today that you were coming over today. You know, so
and
it's
is like 10 o'clock at night right now. So,
so it was tough for him.
Yeah,
but,
totally.
Whatever. But I was hanging out with him and another buddy of ours.
Yeah.
And he listens to the podcast. So he was telling me, like, he's like, you know, the other night, like, it was so fun. He's like, you know, the other night, all I did was, like, I came out in the backyard and I put on, you know, the NYGunGuys podcast, had a cigar. I wanted to hear about this thing going on in Suffolk County, you know, referencing the case. And he's like, I really wanted to hear about, you know, Jerry's firearms case. He's like, and then for the first fucking 20 minutes, you guys talked about fucking eating sushi.
I mean, listen, it happens.
I was like, listen, we needed it.
Yeah. Listen, a free tray of sushi, please.
He's a big sushi guy.
Yeah.
So he understood. But it was just funny.
No sushi tonight.
He'll probably get a kick that I told that story.
No. So
but,
yeah, the sushi, I work in private aviation, and sometimes when catering that is brought on the airplanes don't get used, shit, we take it. So
I'm just going to get thrown away either way.
Yeah, it's going to get tossed or whatever.
Yeah, might as well get tossed into your stomach.
Yes, definitely. So the sushi was a nice treat. I haven't had sushi in a while.
We have to go.
I know.
You can eat sushi, dude.
I know. Oh, man.
My wife wanted to go.
Yeah. I got that good place by me.
Which place now?
There's a place by me. It's not too far.
Not the original place that we went to?
No, not the original place. There's another place closer to me.
Okay. Yeah, really need the all-you-can-eat sushi
and
soon.
Speaking of indoor dining.
Oh, yeah.
I guess this will segue into our next topic.
Yeah. Well, let's start with so Biden had said that he wants to force vaccine, like at a federal level,
right?
Like employees. Department of Defense came out and said that all military, they're going to be getting the forced vaccine. DeBozo said that he is forcing everyone to get the vaccine.
Right.
But I heard that it's only new hires.
I have no idea.
For the city, which I'm not too sure. I do have a couple friends who were in the process of getting hired for the city, and he told me that he got an email saying that if you want to be hired, you have to get at least one vaccine by hire date.
Okay.
So it's happening. I mean, you know what's crazy, man? They told us, even Cuomo said, "Oh, we can't force vaccinate because it's not FDA approved, it's not legal," and here they are.
That's my biggest thing. There's been vaccines that have been around for a long time, and if you go to public schools or college, there's certain inoculations you have to receive.
Right.
But those have been proven safe and effective. My whole issue with this is they're forcing you to take something that we don't know really if it is safe or effective.
Yeah.
You know, the data is constantly changing. At first, they said, oh, the vaccine... Well, not they said, but everyone's public opinion was that, oh, if you're vaccinated, you have like a shield around you. But then it came out, oh, no, if you get vaccinated, you could still get it.
Well, how about this?
And then if you're vaccinated, you could still transmit it.
Let's go back even further than that. when Trump was still president.
Oh,
and
yeah,
they were
I
talking,
sent you that,
and they
yeah.
were talking about the vaccine coming
Right.
out. You had Biden, you had Kamala Harris
Yeah,
saying,
Kamala
we're
Harris
not,
is like, I'm not taking Trump's vaccine.
we're not getting the vaccine that
Yeah.
hasn't been tested. Like, and now these are the same people who are
Now are
like,
pushing
everybody
it.
needs to get vaccinated.
Right.
And
It was a total political ploy.
right.
And you know what? Honestly, Trump, I'm not like a huge Trump guy, but I'm with him in the fact that everyone just did everything they could to stop the guy.
Yes.
They fucked him over constantly. They fucked his offers of help. They fucked him
Yes.
left and right.
Yes.
So now,
And how about the fact that he even brought up, not to be a conspiracy theorist, but he was saying that, it was created in a lab. And everyone poo-pooed it.
Right.
Like, oh, no, it couldn't have happened, which came out.
it came from bats or whatever
right.
the fuck it was.
Which, now it's
Now
pretty
there's-
much.
Now
it's-
there's a strong theory.
It's pretty much proven.
I don't want to
and-
say it's proven, but there's strong evidence to support the fact
Dude, it's
that
like
it
99%
Right.
like confirmed.
The problem is with the Chinese Communist Party and them basically opening up to allow investigators to go in,
Right.
which they're not going to do. They're going to deny it. And I don't think we'll ever really know, but there's strong evidence to support that it did.
The what's it called? There was a new media. I don't know what media outlet, but they were caught saying that, like, yeah, we should have maybe followed the story for, the lab leak, but Trump said it, so we couldn't go along with it.
Yeah. And there's a lot of narratives that were followed on those lines. Basically, if Trump said it, we can't talk about it.
Right.
Or we'll only talk to you if you'll bash Trump. Like, I
Yeah.
was just on a similar note, I was listening to on the most recent Joe Rogan podcast, Yeonmi Park. She's a very well-known North Korean defector. If anyone knows me, knows that I have kind of an affinity for collecting items from the DPRK, North Korea. Mostly because it's a state in 2021 that still practices human slavery, it's one of the poorest nations on earth, still commits human rights atrocities left and right, has people in concentration and prison camps. And it's just, when I show somebody a military medal, like I've talked about previously in my podcast, on one of our podcasts, Controversial Collecting, when I show somebody a military medal, I say, oh yeah, this was probably traded by a soldier for food. He was trading his military medals for food, most likely. It's a very common thing. They trade with China to get food, clothes, supplies, anything they can. So, she was talking about, Joe Rogan was asking her, he's like, you're on Fox News a good bit. And she's like, yeah, they're the only ones that'll talk to me. I'm paraphrasing. And he's like, really? You've never talked to like anyone else? She's like, well, I talked to the New York Times once, only when I was critical of Trump with his meeting of Kim Jong-un. And he's like, they won't talk to you unless you're critical of Trump. She's like, yeah. And this is a North Korean defector.
Right.
So I encourage everyone to go listen to it, because honestly, she kind of bashes the woke culture. And this is somebody who...
Is she like a real defector, though, with like a real story? Because you know that there's some people who like make up their story.
She was 13 when she left North Korea, traveled across the Gobi Desert into Mongolia. Or no, okay, so I'm just going to paraphrase the story real quick. She defected with her mom to China, was sold as basically a sex slave in China for a couple of years. And then I think 3 years she was in China, and then she escaped with her mother and a couple of people across the Gobi Desert into Mongolia. Then from Mongolia, she went to South Korea. She was, her mother was raped in front of her. Like, it's real fucking tragic, man. I'm not going to go into it. I encourage everyone to listen to that. But she's basically a conservative without outright saying she's a conservative. She lives in Chicago. She talks about the Second Amendment. She talks about people, if North Koreans had firearms, things would be different there.
Oh, yeah.
She's basically a conservative, but she won't come out and say explicitly she's a conservative. She thinks the woke culture in America is crazy. She's like, these people think they're oppressed. People who are truly oppressed don't know they're oppressed. And that's what she said. Like, people in North Korea, they don't know they're oppressed. They don't know any other way. And I'm like, holy shit, it just blew my mind, man. I encourage everyone to listen to it. Anyone who's listening now, because you'll really get a sense of how fucked up it is when somebody from North Korea, she's young, she's in her 20s, somebody from North Korea is basically saying how the U.S. culture is, like how the U.S. is just fucked right now.
Yeah.
And she's not bashing America. She's basically saying, like, I came here to the land of freedom, and people are just crazy. And Joe Rogan's like, don't worry, there's still the America that you want here. It's just that there's a lot of bullshit going on right now.
Right now, yeah.
Yeah, but, so this whole thing with COVID vaccinations, like I said, my issue is that it's something that they don't know what's going on yet, and they're forcing it on you.
Yeah.
And, the whole narrative, like you said, when Trump was president, oh, I'm not trusting Trump's vaccine. I'm not taking this. It's this, it's that. And then now it's like, get vaccinated. Your life will be better. You'll be freer. De Blasio
but
said,
you're not freer. Right. Because now they want you to put your mask back on no matter where you are. And they're even saying now that they want you to mask up if you're around children who can't be vaccinated,
Right.
you should have your mask on even in the home.
Right.
That's like every single person, dude.
Right. And you know what? Government, stay out of our house. You know, that's our house. Government, stay out of people's religion. That's their religion.
Right.
Government, stay out of people's bodies. That's their body.
Right.
You know, all these activists that are out there saying my body, my choice, pro-abortion activists are just towing the Democratic liberal line and saying get the vaccine. I've read people.
Well, yeah, dude. There's memes all over the place right now where it's like, hey, you're really against abortion, and it's like, or you're for abortion, and they're like, yeah, my body, my choice, and they're like, but you're killing innocent babies, and they're like, my body, my choice, and then like they switch, and it's like, you haven't gotten the COVID vaccine, and they're like, my body, my choice, and they're like, you're killing innocent people, and they're like, what the fuck, like.
And like I said in a previous podcast, I did get the COVID vaccine earlier in the year because it was when it really kind of became available, and I thought, okay, you know what? I have a young kid. I'm working with the public a lot. Maybe this will be a good thing. You know, maybe probably hindsight now. I'm like, you know what? I probably wouldn't have done it.
I don't know. We're thinking about getting it.
You know what it is, man? It's a personal choice, and I will not berate anybody for a personal choice.
Yeah.
You want to get it, fine. You don't want to get it, fine. But your choices, just like my choices, should be what's best for you.
It's been out
person.
for a little bit now, for over a year, right?
Yeah.
So the amount of people who they say have officially, quote unquote, passed away from getting the vaccine is like incredibly low. Like,
well, look at what's going on in Australia right now. Their
they're
COVID
like
deaths.
Oh, go ahead.
Their COVID deaths are extremely low. I think it's like 9 people like died of COVID or something. Like it's some insanely low number, and they have the fucking military walking around the streets telling people stay inside.
Yeah, well, that's because the government there figured out that they really love control.
Yeah,
and they got a taste of what it is, and now they want it.
Government won't give back power once it's been taken.
They had one elderly person. I think he was in his 80s. Now that you're bringing it up, he was like an elderly 80-year-old man who got COVID and died. And now they're shutting everything down, and they don't want you to like leave your town. They don't want you to leave your house. Yeah, it's crazy, dude.
Socialism's great, isn't it?
It's fucked up.
More social progressive governments are great, isn't it? Yeah. And you know what? I understand and recognize the need for socialist type programs within a country. It has to be mixed. It can't be socialist control. Like certain social welfare programs are very important. Safety nets, things like that, helping underprivileged people, helping the poor, helping the disabled. Those are social programs. We're not a totally capitalist fuck you society like everyone thinks we are.
But everybody acts like we are.
Yeah.
The same people who think that like capitalism, that we're like this horrible capitalist society that like will just rather see you fucking die in the street, are the same people who are just like who are like taking advantage of all these social systems.
Did you see the picture out? It was recent of the girl with a mask on sitting with a MacBook that had a sticker on it that said like fuck capitalism or something.
Awesome.
And she was sitting there on her MacBook with a cup of Starbucks.
Right.
And I'm just like, and everyone's like, this is the definition of irony.
Speaking of photographs, I saw AOC she was like on the steps of somewhere, and
I think it was like the steps of like one of the buildings in DC or something.
Yeah,
and
she like had no mask on. They were like, all right, let's all get together for a picture.
It was from Breitbart.
Right. Then she took her mask out, put it on, and then they took the picture, and then she took the mask right off. Dude, these are the people, man.
I know.
How can you look at that and think like, yeah, that makes sense? I've said that before about this stuff. It's like, how can you like look at her and just be like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, she makes sense.
Right. It's, people like me who got vaccinated and said, all right, you know what? Maybe it'll be good for me. All right, I'll get vaccinated. Okay. Then that was supposed to be it. If you were vaccinated, that was supposed to be like the bigger picture.
Well, it was 15 days to stop the spread. Then it was,
stay home, whatever.
Lockdown, and then it was vaccine, and now it's like zero COVID. You will never have zero COVID, dude. It's never going to happen.
It'll wane off to numbers that are low enough to be manageable, but
right now it's manageable. Right. There's very low deaths. There's very low hospitalizations. There's very low amounts of people who are on ventilators. Right. The Delta variant is more contagious but less deadly.
Right. So what I was getting at was I got the vaccine and it was supposed to be the end all. Like if you got the vaccine, you were supposed to be all right. You don't have to wear a mask. You're okay. If something were to happen to you, it's not going to be as bad. You know the risks now. Go out into the world. Okay, cool. That's what I thought it was going to be. But now, like you said, it's like, oh, you still have to. They want you to wear a mask. You can't do this. You can't go places within New York City without show me your papers.
Well, you can't even you can't even eat in a restaurant
No.
without being vaccinated. Not even like
I know.
have to show your papers for a negative test or whatever. It's just straight you have to be vaccinated.
Right. And you know what? Anytime somebody says to a Jewish guy, "Show me your papers," fuck you. That's basically it.
Right.
And I'm not mincing words on that.
Did you see Lollapalooza?
Oh,
like
yeah, it was great.
The people, but there was like video of people like running in or some shit, and like all they did, they had to like show their vaccine cards, and they just like held their paper above their head and like ran in.
Fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
I know. And you know what? It's just like, what are you gonna do? And honestly, are these business owners like, what's gonna happen to the business owners if they don't enforce that policy?
Well, they want to fine them.
They couldn't have another lockdown. So they're like, all right, how else can we control these people?
Right.
Oh, you have to show proof of vaccination in order to do anything. And if you don't, we're going to fine you. And if we don't, we're going to shut you down.
Right.
So it's like the lawyer in the Suffolk County thing said it's intimidating governmental policies. It's like the policies of the Nazi Germany type. And I'm not going to compare the two, but I'm just saying it's an authoritarian. Thank you. It's late. Authoritarian governmental regime.
I mean, we're thinking about getting it.
I mean, you know what, dude?
You know what it is?
Cool. Whatever.
Well, yeah, I know that, but you know what it is? It's like when you look at like the potential side effects from the vaccine, at least of what's being reported, there's always going to be a group of people who think like they're keeping it a secret, which who knows, they could be, but it seems like the potential side effects of the vaccine are less than the potential side effects. Even if you survive COVID, like people are getting
You'll
these
have
horrible
lingering long-term effects. Yeah.
Right. But then I'm also curious: will you have those effects anyway? Because
I don't know,
because this COVID vaccine doesn't protect you from COVID. It pretty much just lessens your
just like a
symptoms.
Flu shot. Yeah.
Correct. So are you still going to have those long-term
severity? And you
know
can
what
still
I mean?
transmit it if you had the vaccine.
Right. So it's just like I don't know.
And people that I know, it's like they won't associate you with unless you have the vaccine. Like it's some sort of shield. It's like, no, I can still give it to people. You know what I mean?
Well, I told you, like
I know,
I know.
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
But
man.
people were misled by the mantra, by the doctrine that the left is pushing it.
Well, I think the problem is people are calling it a vaccine, and it's not a vaccine. Dude, okay,
it's an inoculation.
Well, like here's the thing, right? So like when you get a vaccine for polio, like you can't get polio,
right?
You have built up the immune response needed to prevent you from getting polio. This is like the flu shot, where it will lessen your symptoms.
Severity.
That's
of
not
symptoms.
really. So when you call it a vaccination, when I think vaccination, I think like I'm protected.
Right. Like
so
malaria,
that's what people think. Right.
Polio. Smallpox.
Correct. You're like you're not planning.
That's a good point.
You'll never get. Well, you're not supposed to get polio, right?
Right.
It's not like you will get polio, but it's less severe. It's
polio
like you will not get polio. You still can get it, but you get it then. It's not like you just have less severe symptoms. So that's what I mean. Like we're calling it a vaccine, and I think that's misleading people. It's not, at least the way I see it. It's not like the way I think of the word vaccine. It's not really it's not the way I think of vaccine. I mean, it might
that's
it
an
might be
interesting point.
considered a vaccine technically,
Maybe.
but like it just, like I said, when you get vaccinated for something, you can no longer get it.
Right.
This is not, the vaccine is just preventing you from having severe symptoms. It's,
Right.
It's weird.
That's a good point.
And you can still spread it. Like, these are just things that, and some people are saying there's some studies that have been done that are showing that people who have the vaccine have even more like COVID, what's it called? Like you have, I forget how they word it. It's like COVID, like cells in your throat and in your nose. There was
receptors or whatever.
Yeah, it was like, well, no, just like how you could spread it.
Oh, yeah.
So they're saying like people who have the vaccine are even more likely to spread it potentially
because they don't know they have it.
Well, you just have more of the cells in your body, I guess. So, and that's that's like really early stuff, but it's a theory, like so. Like what are we doing,
Yeah, the government liberal mantra of we're going to force you to do something seems to be very, very common, especially even in the gun world. I was reading a news article, or several news articles. I send them to you about what's going on in New York City and everything with the firearms deaths and the shootings and they said that they shut down a pipeline of guns coming up from Georgia or something, and they arrested a bunch of people. And I mean, hey, good for them. They're doing their job to stop interstate arms trafficking, which is federally illegal, and they're probably preventing people from dying. There was a story in the news today about a guy just sitting on the bus and just got shot, and it's really sad. But they're forcing, because of these incidents, they're forcing mass gun control, and they want to push the narrative that we're doing this for your benefit. We're doing this for your protection. It's like,
what really bothers me about this, like the forced vaccinations and shit like that. Anything that was forced, but they're forcing you in a way where you basically have no choice. You have to comply, right? So there's employer, right? They're saying you're going to lose your job, which for someone like me, that means I lose my income. Yeah. I lose my health insurance for me and my family. Yeah. We're gonna lose our house. Yeah. How do you also fight back about that?
All the healthcare workers that last year were considered heroes and quote unquote heroes. Right. And now, if they don't want to get the vaccine, they're fired.
Correct.
And they can't help people.
My wife just saw somebody on Facebook got fired from their job because she didn't want to get the vaccine. And it's not because she's like an anti-vax. She just felt like she just didn't know enough about it yet.
Right. And there's nothing wrong with that.
And she was let go from her job. Yeah. She was fired. She's like looking for a job right now. It's fucking terrible.
It just creates a second class of people.
You know what's fucked up? Like you just brought up the second class of people. It's like what bothers me a lot about that is like, there's a group of people who are just like good. Yeah. Good. She fucking deserves it. Why? Yeah. How does she deserve it?
I see some people on Facebook that are friends with my wife that
they can't possibly be friends with you.
That have in the past also said vaccination should be mandatory and forced.
Yeah, right.
And that, I'm just like, how could you fucking think like that?
Yeah.
It's this one-track mindset. And, it reminds me a lot of past socialist and communist regimes, like the Chinese, like the North Koreans, like all these other countries that says, like, it's our way or no way. And they basically hold a gun to your head. And they're like, all right, well.
And that's pretty much what they're doing.
Yeah, metaphorically, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, but, like, through, like, the government can do it through threat of force, theoretically, right? They could say, like, do it or, like, you're in prison. That would be terrible. That would be fucking terrifying. But they're doing it, like, saying, okay, so if they want to do it like in New York City, right, and they want to tell like all the teachers and FD and PD and everybody, get the vaccine or you're getting suspended without pay. Well, what do you do?
Right.
You have no choice. You have to get it.
Right.
Or like the people who have, worked for, 2 years now trying to get into like the police academy in the city.
Right.
And they might not wanted to get the vaccine because of whatever reason.
Right.
And now they're about to get hired and they get hit with this letter like you have by the hire date, which is in 2 weeks you need to have your first vaccination. Like, you don't even have time to like think.
Right.
And that's you like it's hard to get a job in policing. Like, you really need to live your life a certain way.
Right.
So like imagine like living your life the right way the whole way, and then now it's based on you don't even have the personal choice.
Right. It's more of a forced decision.
It's It's a take it or leave it. Like you're going to take this job and get the vaccine, or you're going to not take the job by not getting it. Take it or leave it. I mean, how do you can't
and I see people comparing it online, saying one person shared, again, one of my wife's friends shared a thing that said, I grew up in a generation where there's no shirt, no shoes, no service, and it's not your business. So if you want to go to these places, you have to abide by their rules.
That's
and
fine.
It's like, okay, yeah, but the whole thing is, it's not forced on you.
Well, that's fine, but now you have the government saying no one can go into your restaurant, Taylor. I know you own a KFC,
right?
But no one can come into your KFC unless they're vaccinated. But and then you're here like, but I don't care.
The
like,
business owner is not making these decisions,
right? And that's
the business owner could just say, hey, if you don't have a shirt on, cool, come in, whatever.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's definitely places, around beaches and shit where like, you can fucking go in, like,
Yeah, fucking go in there barefoot, chicks in fucking cool-ass bikinis. I mean...
Dudes in bikinis.
Dudes in bikinis, oh, yeah.
I know you wear a bikini.
Well, man, listen, the budgie smugglers, as a guy I know likes to refer to it.
Did you see the videos of the Olympics?
Where the Kevin Hart and Snoop Dogg?
No, I don't. No. It's like Olympic power walking. Did you see that?
Power walking?
Yeah, but did you see
the fuck?
I'm gonna find the video. There's like a dude like doing the power walking, and like he's wearing whatever, his pants, and you just like you see the whole thing. Is fucking.
Why is there Olympic power walking?
I
What
don't
the
know.
fuck happened to the Olympics? The funniest shit I saw lately about the Olympics was Snoop Dogg and Kevin Hart was doing commentary, I think, for NBC on
I've
the
seen
Olympics.
that. I've seen that.
Bro, hilarious.
Speaking of hilarious, you mentioned earlier you wanted to look up a picture of this lawyer.
Oh, yeah. Did you?
No, get your phone out. I'll give you her name.
Hold on. We were talking, John and I, and I'm like, oh, man, I wonder what this lawyer looks like.
Yeah,
and he's like, bro, save it for the podcast.
We got like 5 more minutes.
I want your first impression of what this chick looks like.
Because, not that like lawyers are like ugly, but I'm just saying like if she, of course she would be like.
Let me see. What's her name?
Amy L. Ballatoni.
Amy
L.
Bell.
Bellantoni.
Yeah, I got it.
Oni. God, I hope she doesn't sue us.
Come on. Images. Hold on. I gotta type in lawyer. There's a couple of people that are coming up, and I'm not sure. Let's see.
Let me see.
Lawyer in Scarsdale, New York.
That's her.
I mean,
let me see.
She's kind of got like the Karen hair going on.
She does not look like I thought she would look.
I thought she was gonna have like
all.
dark, curly, long hair, like real Italian looking.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, she's not. She seems.
Wow.
She looks very intimidating. I'll just say that. Like,
I'd be terrified.
Yeah.
But she's not like a scary. She's not.
No, she's a very pretty woman. I hope she doesn't come after me for harassment.
It's not harassment.
I'm just commenting on what I see.
Damn, I don't know why. I just did not think that would be her at all.
No.
Wow.
And you wanted my first impression live on mic, and that was my first impression.
Yeah. Wow. Look at that.
All right. Well, she kind of got like the Karen do a little bit. Yeah.
The Karen do.
Yeah,
not
a little
really.
bit. It's a bob. It's a short bob hair cut.
She has a pixie cut, is what that's called.
Yeah, pixie cut. Let me see that. Pass that back this way.
Damn. Licensed for 22 years. Putting a face to the text is like,
I could totally see it.
Yeah,
now.
I could totally see her like writing this shit down. Good for her.
22 years license.
I would love to like. I know she probably can't really.
65% civil rights, like basically the practice.
She's a civil rights lawyer.
Civil rights, family 15, appeals 10, criminal defense 10. But like in the civil rights category, civil rights, gun rights, discrimination based on age, race, religion, pregnancy, retaliation, false arrest, yada yada, First Amendment violation. So she's
perfect for this.
Huge. Yeah, this is great, man. I would
love to like
talk
to her over over a podcast.
That would be fucking cool.
Like,
man.
I think we can set it up where we can patch her in like on a phone call through the computer.
Probably.
And just plug her in.
I don't think we're well known, and I don't think we could afford her.
Oh, you just have to like send her a letter, be like, hey, we do a local podcast based on guns. We're covering the story. Like, do you have like 10 minutes?
Maybe we'll have to reach out to her. Maybe we'll get
like
an email or something.
She might do it.
We got to figure out how to patch somebody in over the phone. That's a big one.
Yeah.
Biggie. Maybe we could do like a Discord or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we'd probably have to. She probably has like a Zoom.
Yeah.
She definitely has to have Zoom.
Oh, definitely. Some lawyer.
And then, but it doesn't really matter. However it comes through here, you just go from the headphone jack out to the
interface.
Yeah.
Okay.
To the XLR.
Sorry for our boring commentary on how we have our podcast set up here.
That would just be so cool. She probably really can't comment too much on it, but I'm sure she could say like, well, her position and things like that.
Maybe just get who she is out there.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
A little, just
she's not gonna need any.
No, she's doing a fantastic job. And like I said, anybody who might be listening to this who is in this situation that she's defending, maybe reach out. This isn't an endorsement. I don't know the lady. For the first time, I just saw a picture of her. So. I just think she's doing a fantastic job. I think that she's really taking the county to task, taking the state to task on this issue, because the ambiguity and the just opinionated lawmakers in this state need to be held accountable.
Yeah, I think so too.
I mean, the SAFE Act is a fucking travesty. I look back on the days before the SAFE Act, I'm like, God damn, like, I would, maybe this is just me being institutionalized now under this, but I'm like, God, I would take pre-SAFE Act laws 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, and even like, before then, it was just like a pain in the dick.
Yeah.
But you know what? I remember back in the day, man, having like the pre-ban mags, going to the guns show, getting the pre-ban mags, and they were cheap too. It was great.
Right.
It was great. And then, fucking the law passed. I was like, shit, I got to get rid of these. I was like, fuck.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah,
it sucks that it passed.
SAFE Act sucks.
It did, and we got to live with it now.
Yes.
So. All right, guys. I think that's all we have time for tonight.
Yes, it is late.
Yeah. And to be fair, we are coming out with this episode pretty quick based on our.
Yeah, it's been a little slow going the past month, just life and work and whatever. But this we've kind of figured out a time that kind of works now. So
Yes, and I will be exhausted tomorrow, but it's okay. I think
So
I'll
will
take
I.
some melatonin.
I got to be up early too. I got my
Yeah.
son in the morning.
I was gonna get up early and make breakfast for myself, but I made it tonight.
Mm.
I put it in the refrigerator.
I saw the note on the counter. Don't forget the breakfast wrap.
I have
Aw.
such a lovely wife.
Your wife is so lovely. She is like just it's so funny because she's really particular about how she does stuff in the house. And
Yes.
the
Yes.
ladder in the corner.
Yes, I know the
There's
ladder.
a
is
decorative
classic.
like ghetto looking ladder.
Yes, and then you come into this room and it's like there's shit everywhere. This is like the corner I
The
have
dumping
because
grounds.
like she has like the
A
treadmill.
treadmill.
So like just based on the treadmill area, right? Like my desk needs to be somewhat like clean. Like I can
Yeah.
never have. And then like all of a sudden you like slowly make your way over here and it's just like a pile of shit.
Yeah. This is like your workbench. You fix shit on here. This is
Yeah.
where we do our podcast. Remember,
Right.
it was a big deal when we got a table and a tablecloth.
Correct.
It
And
was a huge update,
and
man.
you know we live in a co-op. I don't have like a garage,
No.
so everything really it happens right here. So
Yes, it does.
it's but
And this
yes,
one day will be the kids'
yes,
room.
I'm a very lucky man.
Yes, she's very
Um,
lovely.
Thank you. Your wife's not bad either.
Thanks. You know she listens to the podcast?
Does she? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you told me the other day.
She listened to the last one with the sushi thing.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, dude, I haven't seen your wife in a long time. I feel
Well,
like
We need to make that happen, bro.
yeah, we
come
gotta
on
do
over.
sushi. We
Well,
we
come
gotta
on
do
over the
su-
house. See my son. Hang out.
Yeah. Well, I want to bring Ashley too.
Yeah, both of you come over.
Yeah,
You
all
know
right.
what- You know when I don't work.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna. Yeah, we're gonna come over. We'll figure it
Alright.
out. You know, our mutual friend who is the moaning ghost. He.
Holy shit.
I just saw.
Oh man, it's a great way to describe him. I'm gonna change his name on my phone to that right now.
to the moaning ghost.
He's had his name the same since I got a cell phone. That's how long I've known him. He's been my best friend since I was in the 8th grade.
Our mutual friend who is the moaning ghost. He I saw his future wife and she
Yeah.
wants to like do a double date.
Yeah.
So maybe we do a little
triple date.
Yeah. That's hard to do.
Yeah, that's a lot of coordination amongst a lot of people. But we'll make it work.
All right, guys. That's it. We're going. We always do this.
I
but
know.
We're going for real.
We're going for now.
We
Now.
are going, and thanks for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Tune in hopefully next week. Hopefully there's going to be more of this clapback.
Oh yeah, this is
I would
great.
love
it's like
it.
Wendy's
It's like,
Twitter.
oh my god, it's like fucking, it's incredible following it. But check out all the other episodes on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere else you can find a podcast at this point. And check us out on Facebook and Instagram. Like and follow and comment. We really appreciate everybody tuning in and sticking with us. And as always, be safe.
Thanks, bud.